guys, welcome back to my channel. I want to very quickly say, excuse the mess in the back. There will probably be some mess in my videos for a while since, you know, the baby's coming, but I will do my best to keep my space as pleasant to look at as possible. Today, speaking of mess and clutter, I want to talk about minimalism and what we can learn from it, the concept of it. And if you don't know what minimalism is, I can kind of just briefly explain the idea of it. So I guess to start off, we can talk about what is minimalism. Minimalism is the idea of living with what means the most to you, and that is it. A lot of people say that minimalism is living with just essentials, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Like I said in my other video, I am not a minimalist. I don't identify as a minimalist because those are people who do tend to live with just the bare essentials. But the more I read about it and the more I look at the origin of minimalism, the idea of it is just to point out how, especially as Americans, we're raised by consumerism, and we're raised with this idea of buy, 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 buy. Get this, keep up with that trend, keep up with these fads, you know? And it gets to the point where a lot of times we're not conscious about how much we're buying. We're not conscious of why we're buying. We're not conscious of, you know, all these things that we have in our home and whether we need all of it. And the first documentary I watched was it's just called Minimalism, and it's on Netflix. I watched that about a year ago, and it really did a good job at, you know, explaining. It showed different people's stories. It did a great job at explaining like how we do so much to keep up with outward appearances without mentally checking in to see if we need all this stuff that we're constantly filling our lives with. In America, we have a humongous debt problem. You know, people will go into debt, including myself. People will go into debt to buy things that they think they need just to keep up with their lifestyle. And not to mention, a lot of people, if we're not talking about debt, a lot of people have trouble storing all of their stuff. If it's not all in their house, there's a lot of people who have storage units with a bunch of things that they never touch for months or years, but they just want to hold on to it because this idea that our possessions are what makes us happy. And that's what really excited me when I started to learn about minimalism, separating myself from the idea that what I buy makes me happy. Because, you know, they call it retail therapy, and like treating yourself to something when you feel like you had a bad day and getting something new making you feel better. That's something I really identified with, and I realized personally it just didn't make a lot of sense, especially bringing law of attraction into it. Once I started focusing on gratitude and focusing on the things that I already have in my life, I started to realize I have so much already. Why am I constantly trying to get more? Especially when I was a makeup artist, and y'all girls who do makeup, y'all know there's always a new product. There's always a new collection. There's always something else coming out. And where are we supposed to put all this crap? What are we supposed to do with all this makeup? Who is paying for all this makeup? You know? So it was a light bulb. It was something that I've never thought to examine within myself or within my culture as an American. And after I started learning about it, I couldn't stop. I was obsessed with the idea of, you know, incorporating minimalism into my life. Like I said, I'm having a baby. I can't be a minimalist. Maybe one day far, far in the future, because that idea of completely simple living is very attractive, but I think that would be kind of selfish for me to do with children before I know what I'm doing. You know, like just marrying myself to the concept of what I think my life should be before my first child even gets here. That's not something that I want to do yet. But minimalism I am incorporating into my life. Yeah, I'm currently working on a capsule closet, and it's funny because Adam, my partner, if you're new, he has practiced the ideas of gratitude. He has practiced this minimalism lifestyle, and he just never put labels on anything. All of this stuff that I'm learning about and growing into, he's already been doing it. And that's why, like, maybe I should make another video about this. Your relationship should definitely be a reflection of, you know, the type of person and the type of family unit you want to be in, the person you choose to be in a relationship with. Because that's one thing I really love about Adam, is like how he simply lives his life and how he focuses on his passions and how he focuses on what makes him happy. And if whatever happens doesn't fall into those two categories, it's not a factor to him. So that's a side note. But yeah, so Adam's already been doing like the capsule closet without the label, and he's never held on to too much junk, as opposed to me. I've held on to junk forever. I didn't grow up in a very simple home. My mom really likes decorating. She really likes hosting company. So did you know that the average American home has more televisions than people in it? Like, we put all these distractions everywhere, and we have to analyze why. How did that come into our culture? Why are we so eager to jump at the chance to not be conscious of ourselves in the present moment? You know? So I'm really attracted to the idea of having a more simplistic home. Since we knew the baby was coming, and we knew we would have to get a crib, or right now we're using a co-sleeper. But since we knew we would have to get different things for the baby, we kind of just started getting rid of things. We threw a lot of things out, we donated a lot of things, and we also gave a lot of things away to friends. I started this process about 6-7 months ago, and then after the baby shower I kind of did a second draft, I guess, where I went around my house again, and I was like, okay, I really don't need this. It was stuff that was a little bit harder to let go of, but it had to happen because I had to make space, and then we're going to incorporate the baby stuff into it. Now, don't get me wrong, I do plan on practicing minimalism with my baby. Like, I'm not going to have 20 different bottles for one child. I'm not going to have a bunch of different clothes for one child, especially since babies grow out of things so quickly. So I think that's going to be another thing that I have to be very present about, because I've gotten the itch to start buying my baby stuff, and I'm just like, why? I can't. I have everything I need for AJ right now, and I don't need to fall into the parenting magazines and everything that says you need this to be a good parent. I can't live that way anymore. I would rather just live by the life experience that I have from having my child and feeling out what I need for him. You feel me? I'm really thankful that minimalism came into my life when it did. I feel like I was exposed to it at the most perfect time, because, you know, cognitive dissonance, when you first hear something or when you first learn about a philosophy, what you already have in your head, you have to work through that to transition to a new philosophy. You know, you can't just say, hey, I'm gonna follow this now, hey, I'm gonna follow this now, you know? So I do feel like it came into my life at a very good time. In about maybe a little more than a year, I know my family is going to be relocating to a bigger home. I know I want a bigger home because space is something that I've learned is very important to me, especially with young children. I think they need space to explore, space to learn. And also, if you notice, I do talk a lot about kids in my videos, and well, maybe not that much, but every now and again I do talk about kids. And I nannied for 10 years. I was a nanny for 10 years. I've been nannying since I was 11. So I guess I started out babysitting and then it transitioned into nannying for different families. But I've been around young kids for a very long time, from different ages, cultures, backgrounds. So I love children. I really do. So, side note. So space is something that's very important to me. So I feel like I need to ground myself in this concept of minimalism before I am blessed with a bigger home. Because when you get a bigger home, all of a sudden the pressure is on to fill it up, right? The pressure is on to get this furniture. Oh gosh, you have bigger rooms now, so why not get the bedroom set? That was something that changed my life, was getting rid of my bedroom set in the bedroom upstairs. I had a big bed, a big dresser, a boudoir, a nightstand, just very big bulky furniture, and I got rid of every piece of it. And right now the bed is just on a box spring and a mattress, and then I might get a headboard, I don't know, but like I have, like, if you've watched some of my other videos I film on my bed, I just have my white blanket and a throw and some pillows, and my room is my sanctuary now. And it wasn't that before. My room was just a room with stuff in it. And now it's, because it's just the bed and the co-sleeper and a desk, now there's all this space, and now there's all this simplicity where, and it gives me the opportunity to clear my mind in my room, because the more furniture you have, that's actually less space you have, so it's harder to keep the area clean. So yeah, I want to ground myself in this idea of minimalism, so that when I am blessed with a bigger home, I don't go overboard from, you know, how I was programmed to get a television in every room, and to get a bedroom set wherever I think I need it, and to get the 5-piece living room set. And I don't want to live like that. I know I don't want to live like that. So I'm just preparing myself and mentally training myself to remember that my possessions never equate to happiness. Simplicity is very, very important, you know? And I'm sorry, I'm saying you know so much this video. I say it in all my videos. But simplicity is very, very important. And we can clutter and make our homes complicated, and your home is not supposed to be complicated. Your home is supposed to be a place of peace. And buying things and having possessions just to keep up with everyone else, again bringing law of attraction back into it, that is a way of you comparing your lifestyle to another person's, and we can't do that. We can't do things outside of ourselves to try to make us fit into what we think life is supposed to be. That is kind of backtracking our whole experience here on this planet. We're supposed to be having experiences, learning from them, growing from them, and then deciding what makes us happy, not being told what makes us happy. And minimalism is a great way to realize some of our programming, and to kind of put our fingers on some of the things that we thought were fixes but were actually band-aids. So yes, there's so much we can learn from minimalism. I'm very thankful to have started this journey. Right now I'm reading The More of Less by Josh Becker. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm not the biggest fan of his writing style. I don't know why. It's good content and I'm learning from it, but usually I can fly through books. But this one is, it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. But I love the content of it. I love what I'm getting from it. It's just the way it's written. So that's my disclaimer. But that's what I'm reading right now, to kind of learn a little bit more about how people practice minimalism and how they see it. And yeah, that is about it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the description box. If you're not subscribed, please do. I'm really trying to build a positivity community here on my channel. Today I was actually going to make another video. It was going to be a story time video. It was going to be about why I don't nanny anymore, since I was talking about kids earlier, because I actually had a horrible nannying experience my last family, and they're actually really racist. And I was going to talk about that just because a lot of people my age or younger, especially in college, they do kind of throw all caution to the wind and put their financial well-being in the hands of people who shouldn't be employers. So I was going to talk about that, but at the same time, it was lowering my vibrations just thinking about it, because it is a situation that still hurt because kids were involved. So I'm kind of torn, because I want to talk about it to share my experience and maybe help somebody, but at the same time I want my channel to be focused on positivity and not necessarily things that might start a negative, bashing, angry conversation. So what do you guys think? Should I make a video on that, or should I just leave it in the past and we move forward? I don't know. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you if you made it to the end of this video. I appreciate you. Love you a lot, and I will see you next video. Bye!